Hello and welcome to the Penalty Box Perspective podcast. My name is Nathaniel and I'm joined once again by my good friend Matt. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, they've done it. The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup. The season's come to a close. Absolutely emphatic 3-0 shutout victory in Game 6 to take the series 4-2 against the Vegas Golden Knights. Uh, let's unpack it, Nathaniel. First and foremost, they were one of your picks to get to the Stanley Cup final this year. You must be feeling pretty good right now.
I am. And I still think Colorado should have been facing against his Carolina team in the Stanley Cup. But it wasn't, it was Vegas. But yes, I am the prediction master. I am that octopus that predicted the Football World Cup a few years ago. I wouldn't have thought Jordan Stahl would have won the Conn Smythe though, but there we go.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into all of that, and obviously it was an incredibly emotional finish for all these guys. But first and foremost, 3-0. It was a do or die game for Vegas. Obviously the series on the line, the cup on the line. They were edged out in the last game, and they had to come out and leave it all, and they got smoked. 3-0. Well, 3-0 with an empty net goal at the end. But yeah, first and foremost, I thought the performance from Brandon Bussey for Carolina. I know obviously Freddie Anderson took the bulk of the starts in the run up to the cup final, and then they seem to have gone with Bussey in the cup final itself. It was a gamble. It paid off tremendously, and fair play to Freddie Anderson for not kind of throwing his toys out the pram and understanding that it's a bigger team picture, and obviously Bussey was able to step in fresh for the cup final and put in some absolutely outstanding performances and some unbelievable saves last night. There was one particular one on a rebound where he was sat down on his arse on the ice and still managed to get his body in the way of it, and it was just
It's like when you
unbelievable.
sit your ass on sofa and you drop your beer and you never move so fast to try and catch it. But no, it's
um,
funny you mentioned Anderson because obviously he's been phenomenal throughout this whole series, and the whole Hurricanes have. This is a story of this series really, where it's just been pretty high scoring, consistent games week in week out, and all of a sudden they sort of dropped him for Bussy, and then people were querying whether he'd picked up an injury, whether it was based on play and things like that. But they've obviously he took a whack to the head as well during one of the games. But he's actually come out and said that the reason he's missed the last three games is because he's got a knee injury. How injured is his knee? I do wonder whether it's a saving face moment.
yeah,
But he does come out and say that he's injured.
yeah, absolutely. But you know what? It's a testament to. Look, we know hockey players are the most ridiculous of athletes in terms of what they play through. The injuries. I'm sure we're going to get the big injury list from Vegas over the coming days, and we find out that Mitch Marner's played with a lobotomy for the last 6 months or something like that. But it goes to show the trust that Carolina had in there. Well, you say their backup, but Bussey was more or less taking the bulk of the starts through the regular season, and it was a proper 1A 1B situation, and it was paid dividends to them in the fact that they've been able to switch out to their other goaltender, who's come in and didn't need any time to get up to speed. He was straight in there, making save after save. And you put that in contrast to Vegas's goaltending, which I feel like in this series really let them down. Carter Hart, obviously he can't be directly responsible for every goal that goes in, but I think he was the first goaltender, I think, to give up was either 4 or 5 goals in the first 4 games of a Stanley Cup playoff series ever. So setting records for all the wrong reasons. And you know what? Couldn't happen to a better guy.
He cried after he lost, like he's been playing for years and years and years, and he's just missed out on his one chance at winning the cup. Oh, get a grip. Sorry. Um, Obviously, I want to keep things positive. Carolina this squad has been all through this season. They've just been playing like they've been the cup champions. They've just been slowly going about their business, not making big splashes, just grinding victories out left, right, and centre. And they've won the Stanley Cup, having lost 3 games the entire playoffs. And that was one against Montreal and then 2 against the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup. It's just absolutely incredible run, a dominant victory, and a win for the good guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, really good feel good story. And, you look at the additions that Carolina made over the back end of last season and over the summer, and so many of those guys have come in and been so impactful. Nikolai Ehlers came in on an $8.5 million deal, which was a figure that a lot of teams weren't willing to pay him. He just spent the last 10 years in Winnipeg, so uprooted his whole life to move a long way. And he's been fantastic in these playoffs. Keandre Miller, acquired from the New York Rangers, brilliant. Logan Stankoven, I know so many Carolina fans were gutted when the Mikko Rantanen thing didn't work out. And it was ended up being a massive issue, but they ended up flipping him to Dallas for Stankoven, 2 firsts and maybe a second as well, I think, if memory serves me right. And
Not a piece of
Stankoven's
business now.
he's just come in, he's gone from strength to strength. He's locked up, I think, on an 8 year, I think $6 million deal, which he's in like the first year of. I mean, that contract is going to age beautifully. And it's those kind of contracts. And you look up and down this Carolina team, and I feel like we've been saying it all season. They don't have that McDavid, McKinnon, Kucherov type Celebrini, absolute triple A superstar. But what they have is a very, very good lineup, top to bottom. They are tremendously coached by Rod Brindamore. You even look at the likes of Taylor Hall, who finds himself on his 7th team. He's had a bit of an up and down career. Obviously, he was a former first overall pick, former Hart Trophy winner, believe it or not. And, but he'd bounced around from Boston to Chicago, found himself in Carolina, where he understood his role and he was able to execute that role perfectly. And, he ended up with, with 19 points in the playoffs. Him, Jackson Blake, Ehlers, Stankoven, all kind of 16 plus points. They really, really got it done. And I just think that the makeup of this roster is absolutely outstanding.
It is. You got the right mix of age, but plenty of youth. I mean, Ehlers is 30. You got Martinook and John Stahl, who are both obviously in the sort of mid to late 30s there. Delorier's obviously getting on quite a bit, but the rest of them, they're all young. And most importantly, they're all signed through to the end of next year. Delorier is an unrestricted free agent. Mike Riley's an unrestricted free agent, and Nikishin's a restricted free agent. We've also got Freddie Anderson as an unrestricted. They've also got 11 million cap space to work with to get these guys signed if they want to re-sign or to refresh the roster. This is not an old guns in blazing, making super late trades at the trade deadline. This is our one chance of winning it. This roster is built for long-term success. This could be another dynasty here.
Yeah, absolutely could be. Absolutely, it could be. And that's such a good point. We see teams, Vegas, for example, are a prime candidate for this. They will use every dollar of that salary cap. They'll go right up to the line. They'll, in years past, when before they kind of tightened the rules, they would, they'd be placing guys on injured reserve until the end of the season, then bringing them back magically for the first game of the playoffs, and manipulating every little thing possible to stretch that dollar the furthest that they can. And yeah, you look at this Carolina team, and like you said, they've got 11 million to work with. I mean, they could bring back Nick Delorier probably for what, like a million and change. Freddie Anderson at this point in his career, if they wanted to bring him back, they might, he'll be arriving on a really kind of team friendly deal. Freddie Anderson might call it a career. He's just won the Stanley Cup. Um, Obviously, he's had his issues with
He
injuries.
does.
He's um, he can ride off into the sunset as a, the second guy to hoist the cup after Jordan Stahl, which I thought as well was a really nice, tasteful moment to let Anderson, lift the cup second. But yeah, this team is they've I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Nikishin and what kind of deal they go for. Do they go for the kind of Luke Hughes kind of contract structure? Do they try and do him on like a little bridge deal? Obviously that'll all play out over the summer, as we'll see. But a lot of those core pieces are locked up for a long time, and that's so important for like you said, sustained success. Within this league, and the cap as well, it's only going to go up. So they will be able to add additional pieces, to this team and improve themselves further. I just, if I was any one of the other 31 general managers in this league, I'd be concerned about how good this Carolina team can be, over the next few years.
Yeah. I just can't believe that this team just came out in a pivotal game 6 in Vegas and just completely shut them down. They struggled to contain them in the first 5 games of the series. But with that much on the line, to grit it out a 3-0 victory or 2-0 and an empty net goal,
Yeah, 3-0.
it, yeah, they beat him 3-0. I just can't get my head around it.
Yeah,
How
it's
it doesn't help
I
Marner's
would.
reputation.
It does not, no, and Marner obviously chipped in with what 29 points in the playoffs. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a single person criticizing Mitch Marner. I mean, he scored 29 points in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and
Toronto
sometimes
fans still.
well, yeah, there is that, but I mean, at least he's contributed for that team immensely, and I would love to have been a fly on the wall for those post Cup celebrations in Vegas of all places last night. I bet they're still they'll at the time that we record this, which is at present it is 17:27, so it's coming up 5:30 in the evening in the UK on the 15th. I think those Carolina players are still drunk.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're still going for it. Absolutely. But I think
Um,
so Vegas players, if I'm honest as well. I think they're going to be commiserate.
um,
Did you see the post that John Tortorella said that he left some T-shirts in a hotel or something that he'll be back next year to come pick them up, insinuating that we'll see you again next year. And Caroline just replied back saying no, pretty much.
I mean, that's such. I know we'll come on to Tortorella shortly, um, but yeah, just I also think as well generally that the Carolina Hurricanes social media team is always absolutely fantastic as well. I do think that NHL teams do have some brilliant guys working the social media channels. Um, I wanted to touch on Jordan Stahl. Um, Becomes the oldest player in NHL history to win the Conn Smythe Trophy, captain of those Carolina Hurricanes. I think 12 points, I think maybe 16 points. Not entirely sure. Yeah, 12 points in 19 games. Um, it certainly feels like the Conn Smythe Trophy is awarded to the MVP of the finals as opposed to the MVP of the playoffs as a whole. But I'm just super happy for Jordan Stahl. You could see how much it meant to him. It's his second Stanley Cup. He's been in Carolina now since 2012-13, so he's been there 13, coming up 14 years. He's never not had a letter on his jersey, and he's a guy who bleeds black, red, and white. And it was you could certainly see how much it meant to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sentimental pick, I think, more than anything. Um,
Yeah,
bounded by the fact it's an easy stat headline until he ruined it last night that he scored in every single game of the Stanley Cup Finals.
yeah, yeah. They
If
they should
only
have got
he'd got
him.
the internet.
They should have got him out on the ice for that empty netter and just been like, give it to him, just
Come
make
on.
sure he does it, please. Yeah, but I mean, you look through kind of Jordan Stahl's career, and this is again probably a conversation for another day, and I need to credit Jay Zawoski from CHGO for this. Talking about whether guys are Hall of Fame caliber or are they in the Hall of Very Good. Um, Now, Jordan Stahl, he's a two-time Stanley Cup champion. He is a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. He has, in his NHL career, he has 1,403 games played. If he plays all of next season, he'll be really close to that 1,500 mark. 747 points. So he's a point. He's a career point every other game kind of guy. But is he a Hall of Famer for you, or is he
I
Hall of
think so.
Very Very Good?
And this is where it comes down to it. And the people who vote for Hall of Fame probably know way more than I do with it because we can see what is produced on the ice, right? So most fans look at the top scorers lists, or for us who tops the most penalty minutes. But I think what Jordan Stahl brings is so much more than that in the locker room. He is a hockey guy.
Mm,
He's the glue that holds everybody together. For the facts that you look at a forward with his kind of statistical production, you're surprised that he's lasted so long in the league for the most part. Without being rude and disrespectful, there are plenty of players who average 40 points a year.
yeah, you can go and find a 40-point guy fairly, without too much difficulty.
Yeah. And they'd have a really good career in the league potentially, but not quite a Jordan style career. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think he will get into the Hall of Fame because of his
Aura.
of who he is. Aura, that's the word. I was thinking of aroma, but I have no idea how
Yeah,
he smells.
I'm sure he smells terrific as well. Yeah, I
Maybe
think
not
that's
right now.
no, no. Um, I think that's exactly it. And for what it's worth, I think Jordan Stahl is Hall of Fame worthy. I don't know if he's necessarily kind of first ballot, first year he's been retired Hall of Fame. I think he might be, 3, 4, 5 years down the line from retirement kind of Hall of Fame. Just because I think there's a few guys who deserve to be there more at present. But I'm sure he will get his place. But yeah, he's a two-time Cup champion, two-time Selke finalist. He's a one-time Bill Masterton Trophy finalist as well. So and that's for sportsmanlike conduct. So you look at a guy who, when all is said and done, I think he will have surpassed the 1,500 game mark. Two-time Cup champion, great guy. Um, he reminds me very much of the likes of Kopitar or like Foligno, both Nick and Marcus, to be fair, those guys that just hold the room together. And like you said, they are the glue that, holds a locker room together. He's not the flashy 100-point guy. But you know what? I bet Jordan Stahl is one of the first guys showing up to practice every single day. I reckon he is one of the last to leave. I reckon he's the guy grinding out that extra rep in the gym. A consummate professional. Um,
Always buys the first round, probably as well.
yeah, yeah. Not bad for a second overall pick. 2006 he was drafted. He's had
When
a
you were
hell of a
born, right?
no. Jesus Christ, not quite. I mean, I was going to say I wish, but I absolutely don't wish that at all. I'm more than happy with my 97 birth year. Um, but yeah, he's got a good hockey family. Obviously, he's got you've got Eric and you've got Mark and also Jared Stahl, according to Elite Prospects. So they're a big hockey family, and yeah, I'm sure he'll get his
So
flowers.
I did see a post of I say the three Stahl brothers who played hockey for a long time, and they've all got like all over 1,000 games played, all over 1,000 point whatever, and and then there's just the fourth brother who I think played 3 games in the NHL. Um, I just imagine being that brother. Like all three of your bros have all made it pro in the league, had big long careers, and you're just there. I don't know.
It always tickles me with that, like with like the record of like the highest scoring siblings in NHL history is Wayne and Brent Gretzky. Like Brent Gretzky had an NHL career totaling of 13 games with 4 points. And yet, he holds the record for it's like the most one-sided sibling rivalry you've ever seen. Yeah, played 13 games with the Tampa Bay Lightning, um, and yeah, holds numerous NHL records. Bless him.
This is it. This
Uh,
is it. I found it. Right. So people are lauding the fact that in the regular season, the Stahl brothers have had a combination of 2008 points and also a combination of 2008 penalty minutes. And
right.
everyone's lauding Jared Stahl because in his two games back in 2013, he received one penalty, which makes it so that they level it. The points and the penalty minutes equal out.
Well, if it wasn't for that singular penalty minute, we'd be looking at a very frustrating stat. So yeah, God bless Jared Stahl there. Um,
God, God bless Hockey Reddit for that meme.
what a sport. Um, let's pivot slightly to Vegas. I mean, where do they go from here? I mean, John Tortorella, by the sounds of it, had made it clear in his when he took the Vegas job that it was purely for the playoffs, and he seems to have been kind of standing firm on that, saying that he's not going anywhere. Then he's sending out these kind of cryptic messages to the Carolina Hurricanes. What do you think? Do you think John Tortorella sticks around in Vegas? Do you think he goes back to his cushy media job? What do you think?
I think he might go into semi-retirement until the next desperate team comes playing next playoffs. Um, and I mean, how about this? They've got a fantastic head coach on their roster, Vegas Golden Knights. They might be in need of a new head coach soon after losing the Stanley Cup final. Bruce Cassidy, step right up.
imagine, imagine if they just went, yeah, we're not going to let you go and speak to anyone else because we actually want you. We want you back. God,
He's sat in that weird hotel room chair,
just staring at the
just
ceiling,
waiting this whole time.
waiting for Vegas to allow him to speak to someone, anyone.
Yeah.
Just constantly rereading the fine print of his Vegas contract that screwed him over. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, this cup final run for Vegas has done absolutely nothing to harm Tortorella's stock as a coach. I mean, he can, like you said, he can walk away from this, go back to his media punditry job, which he was actually, from the bits I'd seen, he's a half decent sort of
Mm.
analytical TV guy, which is better than kind of what I was expecting from him. And he can just stay put, waiting for that crisis team, who fire a head coach with 10 games to go, and they'll go, look, Tortorella did a great job with the Vegas Golden Knights last year. Let's bring him back. He can pick up a nice, top up his bank balance. And it means then he can spend most of the regular season. He strikes me as a golf guy, someone who's out on the course. Um, yeah, I think he will sit in wait. I don't think he's got much interest at this point in his career in coaching a team through 82 games. He's almost like the guy to push you over the finish line. He's like the guy who runs the last 100 meters of the relay.
Yeah.
Um, so
I
I don't
think
know. That's
if they won the cup, I could have seen him coming and signing a contract, 2-year contract or something, and making a bit longer of a go of it. But they signed him because they thought they might miss the playoffs, and they got the playoffs, and I don't even think they were necessarily expecting. They were
mm,
wanting to get to the final, and then they got to the final. Now they got there and failed. I mean, for both sides, I think it'd be wise to move on before it becomes toxic further down the line. And yeah, Vegas just needs to come up with the future plan, whatever that's going to look like.
yeah, and it's difficult, isn't it? Which direction they go from here. I'm just having a quick look and just seeing kind of what. So Vegas currently have a current cap space of 4.625 million, and I think that's without all the kind of pending So you've got Riley Smith as a pending UFA, 35 years old. Brandon Saad as a pending UFA. Colton Sissons, Cole Smith, both as UFAs. You've got Pavel Dorofeyev as an RFA. That's a difficult one, man. I mean, I love Dorofeyev. I
He's
think
good.
he's a great player. He's an absolute power play specialist. It's wild to me that people criticize him for like, oh, he can only score on the power play. It's like, okay, so we've got a guy who's shit hot on a power play and can bag us, 30 plus goals a season. Not a problem at all. They've then got Jeremy Lowson, Ben Hutton, Rasmus Anderson, all as UFAs as
Have
well.
he signed a new contract, Anderson?
Nothing signed yet as it stands. And Akira Schmid is an RFA in goal as well. Um, so they've got some. I think a lot of those role playing guys, your likes of Riley Smith and Brandon Saad, and Cole Smith will probably Ben Hutton maybe all kind of go and maybe they don't get re-signed, but with 4 million in cap space, you want to sign Dorofeyev, you want to sign Rasmus Anderson. I don't know how you're going to do that with $4 million. They're
They're
going to
gonna
have
end
to.
up they're gonna end up like Toronto or Edmonton. More Edmonton, I feel. Where they'll have the Eichel Marner, Draisaitl McDavid, they'll sink some money into they've got their nurse contract is Shea Theodore.
Yeah,
No Hannafin's
yeah,
still good. But even I'm not sure whether Petrangelo's contract will still toll next year. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be playing again. But he's due 8.8 mil for next year. Whether they can write that off straight off the bat, and whether
yeah.
that's
They might.
accumulated in that 4 mil space, I don't know.
I would imagine hopefully they can write that off, but they got one more year of Nick Dowd at 3. I mean, William Karlsson for me strikes me as someone who will be on the trade block. 33 years old, 5.9 million for one more year. Someone who, if you're a team looking to add some veteran scoring depth, and you have enough cap space, I'm thinking kind of Calgary, San Jose, Chicago, kind of one of those teams. William Karlsson's probably someone you could acquire for not a massive package. That's a
You can,
horrible, horrible turn of phrase there. The trade, you wouldn't be giving up 2 first round picks and a prospect you really like for William Karlsson. You can probably get him for some kind of mid-round picks, especially if you're taking on all of that, all of the salary as well. One more year of Mark Stone at 9.5. Look, obviously these are problems that they're going to have a year down the line. But
you got
Vegas,
Aiden Hill at 6.25 for what seems like 30 years. It's longer to be mortgage.
yeah, yeah. He'll be a prime. He's a prime like Edmonton goalie, isn't he? Um, just let's add another fucking mid goalie to our plethora of already mid goalies. Um, yeah, I mean, it's rare I will give Vegas many props or compliments on anything, but I will compliment them on the fact that since they have come into the league, they have been solely obsessed with winning and being competitive. And like we've said, and you've said frequently, they don't care who they hurt, they don't care what people think. They will do what they need to do to be competitive. Now, there is going to come a time where the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be terrible for a long ass time. We're not quite there yet. Um, that day is coming, but as long as Vegas will be able to maintain somewhat of a realistically competitive roster, they'll be there year after year. I think, especially with Eichel and Marner locked up long term. Thomas Hurtle for another few years. They've got the pieces there to do it. So we'll just have to
They're
wait
all
and see.
sneaky old though. Eichel and Marner are both 29 now. So we've seen players play really good late into their 30s. So maybe I'm jumping the gun on that. But we've just been talking about Carolina with how young that team is. Like the youngest forward that's played any meaningful minutes this year is Dorofeev at 25.
Yeah,
The next one's Brett Howden at 28.
yeah.
The same with the defenseman. The youngest defenseman, Caden Korchek, at 25, but he's not going to be your top line. After that, it's 29-year-old. Like, I just think they keep getting these players at the prime and stuff. I just don't think he's going to catch up with them.
Yeah.
I don't. They're going to play the game for too long
Oh,
and then
yeah.
get stuck with big money
Absolutely,
contracts.
absolutely. But like we were saying with Carolina, obviously you look at like you got Nick Delorier at 35, Stahl at 37, Martinuk at 33, Hall at 34, but then you've got Sebastian Aho at 28. Coming into the prime of his career off the back of a Stanley Cup win. Ehlers at 30. Again, you've still got a few years of that. Svechnikov at 26, Jarvis at 24, Stankoven at 23, Jackson Blake at 22. Um, Kotkaniemi at 25, Keandre Miller at 26, Nikishin at 24, Bussy at 27. They've got Peter Kochekov at 26 as well. If he's someone they decide they want to go with. So, you're absolutely right in the fact that long term, you look at that Carolina roster. Especially some of those key players. Seth Jarvis and Stankov and Jackson Blake, still in their early 20s. Um, so yeah, it's the the fallout of all of this is certainly coming for Vegas. I think we're a couple of years away from that, but Carolina will be long term, right there.
Which is why I thought they were favourites from the start.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Um.
just love it. It's a new team. It's a new face on the block. I've
Yeah.
been bored of the Florida teams dominating and the same Edmonton and all that stuff. Like it's just nice to get a fresh outlook on it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, it is. Of course, it is. And they've got a fun roster, a really likable roster. They've got a really likable coach in Brindamore, who becomes, by the way, the fourth player in NHL history to captain a team to the Stanley Cup as well as win one as head coach. Which again is another nice little statistical tidbit there. Um, and they're just a likable team. You never hear them making too much noise about all the kind of controversial things that we sometimes see in the sport. They keep their heads down. They're a professional outfit, as they were all the way through the regular season. They just kept their heads down and cracked on, and picked up the points, won the division, and then won the cup off the back. So you know, fair play, Carolina. Really hope to see them back there. Carolina, Minnesota Cup final next year.
I like that. It'd be good for a Western Conference team to win the Stanley Cup for the first time in 4 years.
Forever. Yeah.
No,
Right. So, is there anything else really from yourself? I know we've kind of covered this sort of relatively extensively. There wasn't sort of too much else news wise. I think that we kind of really needed to get into. I'm sure. Obviously, we're coming up on we're coming up on I think 12 days we are now from the draft. Um, can't wait. I'm sure we'll have some plenty of stuff covering that beforehand. Yeah, I think I've said all I need to say, Nathaniel.
I'm just sad that hockey's over. It's not over, but the
It's
game is.
never over.
We grind it out another season, but no, it's going to be. I'm going to miss staying up till 3, 4 a.m. in the morning, trying to watch some hockey games and going back to somewhat of a decent sleep schedule. Um,
Well, if you
yeah,
wanted to
it's just,
keep if you
it's
wanted to
always
keep
sad.
shitting all over your sleep schedule, you've got the World Cup for the next month as well, so you can watch some
But
some World Cup action.
have you seen that they've included hydration breaks to turn it into 4 quarters?
Yeah, yeah, of course I have. Of course, it wouldn't. Yeah, classic America. But
Our own
um,
football. Well done for avoiding relegation.
Thanks, man. Yeah, really appreciate that. It was a touch and go season for my Spurs, but another year of Premier League football on the horizon for them. Thank God. It was squeaky bum time for a large portion of the season, but never in doubt. They said Spurs were too good to go down. They were right. Just.
Just weren't bad enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just weren't bad enough. Right, so that's it. The 2025-2026 NHL season is done and in the books. I'll let you do your usual outro, but I think we've got lots and lots of things to look forward to, and I can't wait to the 2026-27 season.
The 6-7 season will be certainly one to watch. Gotta let me get one more in before the end of the year. Right, guys. As always, you can find us on both X and Instagram at the PBP Podcast. You can get in touch with us via Gmail at penaltyboxperspective@gmail.com. Find us on TikTok as well at Penalty Box Perspective. If you want to watch the podcast in glorious visual HD clarity, you can find us on both Spotify and also on the Penalty Box Perspective's official YouTube channel. Please do consider going and dropping a subscription over there and like the video. It's free and it helps me and Nathaniel out massively. Whilst you're at it, if you want to give us a 5-star review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that would also be massive. I'm looking at getting a guest on in the next few days to cover some pre-draft fun. So stick with us for that. Thank you again to everyone who's listened. I think we've surpassed 1,000 streams now for our debut season, so it really means a lot to us for us to to have
Isn't
so
there a
many
challenge
people.
associated with that?
Yeah, there was, and I think I've still got
You're
it.
going to wear
I've
you're
still
going to
got
wear
it.
your child Jordan Mailata Philadelphia Eagles jersey.
Yeah,
Eh.
yeah. Yeah, I'm a man of my word. I think I said I'd post a picture to the Instagram of it, or alternatively, I will wear it for a full episode. Um,
Both.
Thanks again, as always, guys, for being with us, and congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes. We will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Man, Nathaniel just smacked the shit out of me.